Welcome, welcome. You can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I can be heard. Welcome to another Leadership Live with yours truly, Charissa Monroe Wilborn. I'm excited. We are here. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Let me know that you can see and hear me and all that lovely stuff. How you guys doing? I'm excited. I'm excited. We are all in this space tonight. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You know me, you know. Can you hear me? Good, good, good. LaShonda said she couldn't wait. Drop in the chat. Y'all know if you know me, you've been here for the last few weeks, you know that I love to communicate and interact with you in the chat. So please let me know. Drop your city in the chat. Where are you joining from? Where are you sitting right now? I am sitting in the beautiful state of Illinois, city of Chicago. And I'd love to know how far we reach and how global we are. It's always a beautiful thing to see. So let me know as others join in. Orlando, New Zealand. See, I knew we were going to have a great room. Welcome, welcome, New Zealand. Papua New Guinea. Oh my goodness. You guys are here. Greetings from the Pacific. Joshua Jr., welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being here. The Bahamas is also in the building. Anishka, how are you? Good, good, good. Awesome. People are coming in, so we're going to give a few to come in. So if you have been here with me, this is now week 5. This is week 5. If you've been here, if this is your first week, just put first in the chat. Put the word first, FIRST. But if you've been here week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, going on week 5, put all. If you've been here in and out, just put a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you've been here. If this is your first time, put first. But if you've been here at least twice, put a 1 in the chat. Kenya is in the building. Zambia is here. Okay. We are global as usual. So this is LaShonda's first. Ooh, LaShonda, you've been missing. Make sure you go to all the replays for those that may want to know. The replays, this is live. This is Leadership Live, maybe number 5. I've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 weeks. If you ever want to catch any of the previous, they're all on YouTube. You can watch them on YouTube. Some of them, but most of them are also on Facebook as well. So please feel free to watch all the other lives before. But if this is your first, you haven't missed much. We're gonna still gonna be a good one. So thank you to all that are first. If you've been to more than one of these lives over the last few Tuesdays, put a 1 in the chat. Put all in the chat. Emmanuel, welcome. Greetings from London. Naomi, it's good to have you. Blessings from Nigeria. Boston is in the building. Okay, we are here. Good. So we have some first even over on Instagram. Barrington, Illinois. Okay, right up the street. We come there every week. Kent, the UK, Nigeria. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's keep this engagement going because this is how I can feel you guys at most. Botswana is here. Boston is here. If this is your first time, put the word first in the chat. If you've been to more than one of these, put all or put 1 in the chat. Let me know that this is not your first time. But tonight is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. We're going to continue the conversation talking about clarity. Essentially, that's what we're talking about. But before we can get to clarity, there are some things that we have to make sure that we do and that we look at before we consider the idea of clarity. So that's what we are going to be focusing on today. We're going to be talking about decisions specifically. And I'm talking about those decisions that you're delaying. And it's usually probably just one decision. Hence why this live is specifically called the decision that you have delayed. The decision that you have delayed. So We're going to get started. And I want to open up tonight very differently. I don't want to ask a question. I've been asking questions. I don't want to ask a question, but I am going to make a statement. Okay. And I just want you to notice how it makes you feel, notice where it lands, just kind of notice how it resonates with you. Okay. I just want to make a statement. There's a decision sitting in your leadership right now. It's sitting in your leadership responsibility. It's sitting in your leadership capacity. It's sitting in your leadership potential. But there's a decision that's sitting in your leadership right now. And you know exactly what it is. And it's been sitting there longer than you would admit to anyone, including yourself. Including yourself. And I've worked with many leaders long enough to know that this specific experience, that decision that won't move because you haven't made it, that decision that's there is one that most privately is carried in high capacity leaders, especially those like you, like me, who we have a lot of responsibility. We're leading in our areas of gifting, but there's this decision that's privately carrying space because we can't answer it. We don't know why. We just know that for some reason, we just can't make the decision. So there's a decision that's sitting there. And part of it is too, because from the outside, nothing looks wrong. Nothing looks stuck. You're still able to go to your meetings. Meetings are still happening. Your outcomes are still happening in your business, in your life, in your work. Your team, if you have a team, it is still intact. Your family is still intact. Like everything seems okay. Everything seems perfect, right? Anybody else feel that way? But there's always one decision that has been sitting on your desk. There's always one decision that's sitting in your mind. There's always this one decision that's sitting in your heart. And it's there so long. It's longer than every other thing on your desk combined or on your mind. It's this one decision. It isn't going anywhere. And it's a decision you keep coming back to, or you keep seeing it because you just can't make it. You're not clear enough to make it. And those decisions can look like it could be a role that needs a conversation. It could be a relationship that needs a decision. It could be a direction that needs to be chosen. It could be a boundary that you have to set for yourself or someone else. Like these are different decisions that we all are needing to make, but we haven't made them. Years go by and there's one decision that we haven't made. And every day you move past without making that decision, you tell yourself, now it's not the right time. Or you say, I don't have enough information yet. So we think it's a time problem, or we think it's a lack of information problem. Or we say something sexy like, oh, it's the wrong season. Or we say to everything there is a season. We misconstrue even the scriptures. But I want to tell you what I know about that. It's not a time thing. You delaying your decisions, it's not timing. It's not information. It's not even courage. Because a delayed decision is not a time management problem. It's not a courage problem. It's a clarity problem. Simple as that. And clarity is an alignment condition, which is why I've been focusing on alignment a lot. Because sometimes a lot of us want to know, why am I not clear on my decision? Why am I not clear on my next move? Why am I not clear on my direction? But they've actually missed the underlying thing that needs to be in place in order for clarity to be restored. And that's alignment. So clarity is a condition of proper alignment, or the lack of clarity is a condition of misalignment. Let me show you what I mean, right? So when you think about me, I think about me for 5 years, but maybe the first 5 years of my business, I was a one-woman show. I did everything. And for a long time, I pride myself in the fact that I was able to multitask. I pride myself in that I was able to be everything in my business. I was the accountant, I was the employee, I was the CEO, I was the janitor, I was the banker, I was the marketer, I was the PR, I was graphic designer, I was assistant, I was administrator, I was everything in my business for the first 5 years. And it was sexy, I thought. I thought as a woman, we could multitask and we do it well. So I did it well. And my business started growing a little bit, but it was growing. I was also the one who was answering emails and addressing emails and filling my calendar. So I was able to get speaking engagements. I was getting paid. So my business, like, remember I said, nothing felt wrong. But I just knew that I need to hire a team, not just one person. I needed to hire a team. But I delayed and I delayed, and I came up with every sexy excuse you could imagine. Why year one was in the right year to hire a team? Why year two was in the right year to hire an assistant? Why year three was in the right year to bring on marketing? Why year four was in the right year to hire an assistant? Like, year after year, it wasn't the right time, or it wasn't the right season, or I didn't feel like paying the money to, for an employee, or I don't think I'm going to find someone as competent as me, so I'm not going to hire anyone. Or if I hire someone, they're not going to do it the way that I did. I had all of these excuses, and I mean, they was beautiful, they were sexy. For 5 years, I did that, and things were great. Then I recognized and I realized that, Charissa, for the work that you are doing, that you are called to do, and for the person that you are, only so long can you continue to carry on like this. And so, yes, I can do it. I can multitask. Yes, I can, I'm a woman and we can do it all. But later on, it took me a while to realize that if I don't stop and recognize that, yes, I may be able to do all these things, but was I doing it efficiently? Was I exhausted because I was carrying what was supposed to be mine, or was I carrying somebody else's? There was all of these, and I had to think about which aspect of my life am I overcompensating because I don't want to just make the decision. And the reason why I couldn't make the decision was because I recognized later that my alignment was out of whack. And you may say, wow, Charissa, that's probably me too. How do I know how my alignment is whack? What do I know? Let me tell you, for me, I was carrying what was no longer mine to carry when I became who I was, when I started doing what I was doing. I knew my purpose, I knew my calling, I knew what was mine to carry, I knew who I was, but I was carrying too much for what it required. I didn't have enough. I wasn't delegating. I was carrying because it looked good. It was sexy. If you can do it all. Like, I wanted to have a story and a testimony. And so I was carrying, but it was costing me. It was costing me energy. It was costing me money. It was costing me some relationships because I didn't have time. And it was costing me resources. And so I recognized that, wow, my responsibility was overload. And here's what I actually like. Before I move on, anyone else can resonate with my story. Your story may be different, but do you resonate with, you know what, Charissa, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm there. Anybody else feel the same way? Yolanda says, I'm 5 years in and I'm doing the same. God brought me here for a reason. Yolanda, I hope I speak just to you. Or you just don't want to ask. Absolutely. You don't want to ask for help because you feel that you should be able to do it all. You got it. So I'm not the only one here with the same thing, correct? Let me check Instagram because I want to make sure that I get it all. Okay. So here's what I know is happening underneath that delay, especially for me. It was an alignment issue. And especially now that I'm all the way into my business, I've been now 17, going on 9-10 years. I had to count. Going on 9-10 years. And I recognize that when I was out of alignment, things were out of whack, even though I did not feel it, or it did not feel like it. And so I came up with the alignment model just to help other people who may think it's one thing when really and truly it's actually just you're out of alignment. So we talked about alignment last week. If you were here last week, I introduced this very model last week. And if you remember, if you were here, and if you aren't here, I know I have a lot of firsts. So if you weren't here last week, I talked about the alignment model. And the alignment model has 3 dimensions: identity, assignment, responsibility. Write those in the chat for those who ain't hearing me in the back. Identity, number 1. Number 2, assignment. Number 3, responsibility. When all 3 of those agree, that's when you're able to form and make decisions. Now, not because the decision is easy. Making the decision and it being easy, two different things. But the foundation underneath the decision is stable. When your identity, your assignment, and your responsibility are in alignment. When any of those are out of whack and there's a disruption, your foundation is not stable. Because your foundation is not stable and you can't necessarily make or form a full decision, it's because your decision has nothing solid to land on. So when you know that your decision doesn't have anything to land on, it's foggy. So you can't make it, you won't make a decision. And you're not necessarily avoiding. We think we're avoiding decision. Not really. I mean, that's a physics. If you don't have anything solid to land on, it won't land. So that's just mere physics, okay? A lot of you, both men and women, you're not circling your decision because you're afraid of it. I wasn't afraid of my decision. You're circling your decision because the alignment underneath had not yet been restored. And for me, remember, my issue was my responsibility. The way that I was carrying all the different roles and hats that I was wearing was not mine to carry, or shouldn't have been mine to carry for so long. And so my alignment was not restored. And when your alignment is restored, that's when your clarity becomes restored. And when decisions don't land on, or when they do land on alignment that's not smooth and solid, it won't hold. So let me walk you through each dimension. Okay. So I want to, just in case you're wondering, identity, assignment, responsibility, what does that really look like? Because I want you to be able to locate where you are sitting. So when you think about your decision that you have not made, it's been 5 years, 2 years, 30 days, 10 years for you, and there's this one decision that's bugging you and you can't make it for whatever reason, I want you to be able to locate exactly where you're sitting on the alignment spectrum, so you can just figure out, how do we do something about it. So the first one is identity. If your identity is disrupted, decisions feel impossible because you're not sure who is making it. Identity is all about who you are and who you actually are right now, not who you were before, because who you were before is obsolete. And I'm not talking about your role, CEO, president, vice president, chairwoman. I'm not talking about your role or your title. I'm talking about you as a person, which means I'm talking about your specific values, your specific convictions, your specific understanding of what matters. That's who you are. That's your identity. When you are not leading from that version of you that knows your values, that knows your convictions, that understands who you are, every significant decision is going to require you to take a guess. And you're trying to guess what the right version of you is going to choose. That's exhausting. Trying to make any guess is very exhausting and sometimes can be very, very overwhelming. So when you think about the identity part of the alignment model, the question you want to ask is, am I making the decision from who I actually am now, or am I making the decision from an environment that expects me to be, or from an expectation of a mother or my husband or the family? Am I making the decision from who I actually am? So when I thought about where I was, I knew that I had to make a decision from who I actually was. My issue wasn't alignment. My issue was an identity. But for you, it might be. For you, you're probably still holding on an expectation of your mother or your father or your husband. You're probably still holding on an identity of what society thinks that you should be doing or how you should be operating. So ask yourself the inner question. Am I making a decision because of who I actually am, or from who or what the environment expects me to be? That's identity. If these are resonating with you, let me know. Then you have assignment. So the next framework in the alignment model is assignment. Assignment, if your assignment, because when you think of identity, think about who you are. When you think of assignment, think of purpose and calling. So when I say assignment and you want to kind of make it make sense to you, think about your purpose and your calling. And when your purpose and your calling and your assignment is disrupted, a decision is going to feel impossible because you're not sure whether it is actually yours to make. So when you are unsure, period, you're not going to move. When you're unsure whether it's actually yours to make, you're not going to make a decision. And some decisions are going to sit because they belong to someone else. Now, they could belong to a mother, a father, just somebody else who has that particular purpose, or they could belong to a version of you that is very old, that you have outgrown. So many times we are holding on to a old version of us that we have outgrown in some other season, and we're trying to make a current decision but from that old person perspective or that old person we've outgrown. Then we wonder, why can't we add it up? So you get to ask the question, when you're thinking from a assignment, purpose, calling perspective, the question you want to ask to filter through is this decision actually mine, or have I been carrying it because no one else stepped up? So you can probably say part of my issue was assignment because there wasn't anybody else around to do it. So I said, you know what, I'll do it. I can do it. Many of us are picking up assignments, or we're filling in the gap for other people because we feel we have the capacity or we feel we have the capability. Those two things are very different. You can have the capability, but still, is it yours to carry? You could have the capacity, but still, is it yours? Is it your purpose? Is it your calling? Is it your assignment? Your assignment is going to be very different from your mother's assignment or from your dad's assignment or from your friend's assignment. Yes, we all are here for a purpose. Yes, our purpose can be similar, but there is a particular specific assignment that's for you. Make your decision based on what's actually yours, not on somebody else's. That's assignment. The third part of the model is responsibility. If responsibility, and this is where I was, if responsibility is disrupted, your decision is going to be impossible because you are already carrying more than your current season requires. So for those 5 years of my business where I was the one-woman show doing everything, by the time we get to 5 years, I had accumulated a whole lot of responsibilities, more than I should have been carrying for who I was and my calling. You understand? So I know who I was. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what was my purpose. And then I recognize that, but what I'm carrying is a lot more than my assignment and my identity requires. And then over the years, I kept adding and adding and adding, and then adding one more significant commitment to a load of already capacity overload. Then now I had to start creating confidence. And I couldn't figure out like what level of my confidence I should be using. So then I recognized that I can do it, but I'm carrying more than I should. So I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. Sometimes I was getting weary in the work in my business and the work that I was doing, all because I didn't want to hire the help and support that I needed. So the question that you ask yourself, if your issue is a responsibility issue, the question you ask is, am I carrying the right weight or the right responsibility right now? Or have the accumulation of other people's needs left me without the internal ground to decide which is mine to stand on? And so I had to say, is other people's needs more important than mine? Am I also going to delegate what I need to delegate so that I can do the one thing that Charissa does the best and right? So those are the three. I'm going to let that sit. Identity, assignment, responsibility. So in the chat, which one of these is making your one decision impossible to land? Which one? Identity. When I was talking about it, where did you find yourself? Assignment. Did you find yourself in an assignment deficit or responsibility? Could be more than one, could be all. How do you identify your assignment and refine your assignment? That's a whole different live or a different date. But your assignment is very connected. Actually, your assignment is your purpose. Your assignment is your calling. And so if you can figure out, decide, take a time to stay close to your creator and start asking those questions on what is my purpose, that's your assignment. That's a whole different life for a different day. You know, what problem are you here to solve? What are your interests? What are your passions? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Like when you start asking those questions, now we're getting into how do I discover what my assignment is? How do I discover what my purpose is? So I hope that helps. Great question. My assignment is my purpose. Yes. I found myself in all three. Joshua Jr., yes. So there's possible that you can be out of alignment in all three. So I cleared all responsibilities and I'm in a place to make decisions. So this live is timely. Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. Destiny said responsibility. Highest said responsibility. So usually, when I worked with leaders, I find that when we look at all three, usually the one that usually tends to stand out that the majority is out of alignment is normally responsibility. Some people assignment, some people responsibility, but I find the majority of people are struggling with the responsibility part. Identity. My assignment is to care for the desolate and disabled. Responsibilities are mine to begin, but praying for my destiny helpers. Absolutely. Absolutely. So before I give you the one move, before we close, because there's one move, there's only one move I want you to make or do tonight, before we close. But I wanna name what the delay is costing you, because I knew what it cost me. I had a decision and I didn't make it for 5 years. And for 5 years, it cost me too much. And there's going to be a cost because most delayed decisions don't just sit still. You ever realize that your decision that you're trying to make, it ain't just keeping still? It's going to cost energy every time you think about them. It costs me energy, exhausted. And you think about that one decision every single day. It's going to cost you integrity every time you move past it without making a decision. Or it's going to cost you integrity every time you move past it without a resolution, because you know what needs to happen. And it's that gap between what you know and not doing is one of the most expensive places a leader can live. So it cost me some. I knew I needed to hire. I knew I needed to bring some support on, but I wasn't making it. So I was actually testing and tempting my integrity because I knew better, but I did not do better. You know, when they say, when you know better, you do better. Guys, Charissa knew better, but Charissa didn't do. Charissa knew better, but I didn't do better. And so it cost me so much. And then when you're delayed, when your decision is delayed, it can cost you every other decision you try to make. So all of the other decisions that I may have made or tried to make beyond making this one, even those became shaky or very unfounded, because this one would have made all of those maybe go a different way or would have made them a little easier. And part of that is because part of your bandwidth is always occupied, or part of your mental capacity, or part of the way you think, or part of, just the space that you need to make a clear decision. It's always occupied by this one decision that keeps sitting, that's still waiting for you to decide. And delayed decisions do not wait patiently. They don't wait. They actually just get more and more and more. They get you. There's one decision on top of the other. They get more frustrating. They just keep compounding. And they compound in energy, in integrity, and in the clarity of every other decision you try to make. So I'm not going to be here long. But the one thing, here's what I want you to do before next Tuesday, because we're going to be back next Tuesday for another Leadership Live. I don't want you to make a decision. You already have that decision in your mind. I don't want you to decide today. I don't want, please, do not try to make a decision today. All I want you to do today is figure out or name the dimension that you're at right now based on what we said earlier. That's it. That's the only one move I want you to make. Before you try to make the decision, just sit with those three questions. Identity. Are you leading from who you actually are right now? Am I leading from who I actually am right now? Assignment. Is this decision mine to carry? Or responsibility? Am I carrying this correctly? Those are the three questions. And I want you to figure out which dimension is where you're disrupted the most. Are you disrupted at the identity dimension? Are you disrupted at the assignment dimension? Or are you disrupted at the responsibility dimension? When you figure that out, between today and Tuesday, write it down. Use a pen and paper, write it down, put it in your phone, put it in the chat right here to get it out of your system if you want to, or make a mental note. That's the first move that we're going to make. That's all I want you to do between now and next Tuesday. Because when you can locate where the disruption is, then we can now apply treatment or we can start to resolve the issue. It's no different. I've been talking about this particular analogy all week. It's no different than going to a doctor's office. You go to a doctor's office and he's going to ask you, where is your pain? Where are you hurting? He wants to be able to locate the pain point. So let's locate the pain point between now and Tuesday. Which of those dimensions are out of alignment? If it's one, then figure out which one it is. If it's two, figure out the two. If it's all, then let's say it's all. Okay? And then write it down. Because the decision is not stuck. It's not a decision stuck problem. The alignment underneath the decision to be made, it's what's stuck. An alignment can be restored. We can restore alignment because when we restore alignment, we restore clarity. Can't wait for my next summit that's coming up because we're going to talk about clarity restored. But we can't talk about clarity until we talk about alignment. Because remember, earlier on I said alignment is a condition. Clarity is a condition of alignment. When we have alignment, we automatically start to restore clarity. When we are out of alignment, then we have a whole lot of fog. So name the dimension. That's where restoration is going to begin. Name the alignment, and that's when we can start the restoration process. And I want to plan something for next week because one of the things I hear most often from leaders who have been sitting on a decision for so long, just like me and you, sounds something like this. I've thought about it. How many of you said, I've thought about it? I know for me, I thought about it. I thought about it all the time. Or you say, I've journaled. You use that very nice, sexy coaching lingo. I've journaled. I've wrote it down in my diary. Or it sounds like I've talked through it. You talk through it in your head, or like me, you talk through it with your husband or with your coach or with a friend. And then if you are very, very strategic and you strategize around the decision. That's what a delayed decision sounds like. I've thought about it. I've journaled it. I've talked it through. I've strategized around it. Like that all is sexy language for I don't know what to do. I can't see. The fog is still here. And even after all that strategizing, even after all that thinking about it, even after all that writing about it or talking about it, the fogginess is still there. And so if that is you, like that was me, if that was you, next week, Tuesday, we're gonna talk more about why this is important. And I'm gonna tell you something even more important about why thinking is not working, because we do a lot of thinking. I gave it thought. I thought about it. Next week, I'm going to tell you something about that. And we're really going to talk about why the problem is not what you think it is. The problem is not going to be what you think it is. That's actually the topic of my live for next week, Tuesday, because it really ain't what you think it is. So next week, we're going to actually now locate exactly what it is, what what the problem is, but we need to be able to locate where. And tonight, I'm asked today for the next 7 days, I'm saying let's locate the where, and then next week we'll locate the what. So we can get you really and truly making this decision and being able to make it sound. Okay. Please, if you have if you're here and you just got here, don't worry. The replay is available on YouTube. If you want to watch it again, the replay is available on YouTube. If there's someone who you know needs to hear this message, make sure you let them know. The replay is available on YouTube. There's also going to be replays available on Facebook if you prefer that, or LinkedIn. But I know YouTube is definitely going to be for sure. A silent procrastination. We can restore alignment. Today we locate where, and next week we will locate next week we will locate the what. We will locate the what is actually the problem. We know the why. We know the why because the why is also answered along with the where. So we know the why is we have a misalignment issue. That's the why. There's a misalignment problem. Then the what is the where is where. Is it a responsibility of the alignment? Is it the assignment of the alignment, or is it identity that's messed up in the alignment? So when we can figure out the where, which is what we're going to do today for the next 7 days, then we will talk about then now what is the problem? What is it that is stopping you from deciding and making decisions clearly and quickly? I'm not saying easily, but quickly. And like I said, the problem ain't what you think it is. Okay. So that is it. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I hope that if one thing resonates with you, I will answer any questions I see for the next literally 5 minutes. Tosan, welcome. Destiny says, excellent delivery, always much blessing. Beautiful mama. Thank you. Thank you. So don't forget, because we're going to have a live next week, Tuesday, but coming up at the end of this month, April 25th, we're going to have a whole summit where I'm going to sit with you guys for a little longer than this. And we're going to talk about clarity restored in leadership and life. So if you are interested in attending the summit, make sure you join the wait list right now. So when we open, you're the first to know. And I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can join, or you can comment. You can DM me the word clarity, DM the word clarity, comment the word clarity, and you should get the link to where you can join the wait list so that you can be the first to know when that registration opens up at the summit, because registration is required. So the link is in the chat for those of you that can see it. I will also put it in the comment section following our live. But yes, please make sure that you join the wait list. You don't want to miss that summit. We're going to really be talking truly about clarity and walking away with the ability to make decisions confidently. And we're going to deal with the root problem. I'm all about, we could do the surface stuff, but let's deal with the root. So I'm so excited that you guys are here. If you don't get any info, I see a lot of you are commenting clarity in the live chat. If you don't get anything to your email from this live chat, comment on any of my other posts lately, or DM me clarity, or visit the link here, and you will be able to, you should get a link. All righty. Awesome. I don't see the link. It's in the chat on Facebook, and it's in the chat on YouTube. I will add it once I finish the live. I will add it to the chat, and then it'll be there. You might need to DM me on a different post, or just DM me directly or comment on different posts. But I'm excited. How can I reach you? I am on YouTube, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram, always putting out content. Tommy Lee, I stumble on your page, has been such a blessing. You're welcome. I'm new following you. This is good. I'm so glad I caught this live. I went to Greenwood Christian Center while you were at ORU. So excited. Thank you, Maisha. Yes, ORU was a long time ago, but it is good to make your acquaintance. We can restore alignment. Absolutely. And this is a very good point. Catherine says we can restore alignment. Alignment, unfortunately, alignment goes in and out all the time. So, one day we could be in complete alignment where our identity, assignment, our responsibility is on one accord and they agree. The very next day, something can happen in life. Something can just go wrong and our identity is out of whack. For the first time, we're questioning, wow, who am I? Is this really mine? And alignment is off. And anytime you have alignment that is off, no matter what, clarity always goes away. And it's always foggy. So if you ever, and I'm going to really be talking about this, but if you ever want to know, like, why does my clarity feel shaky? Or why am I no longer clear? Why am I foggy? Always go back to I'm out of alignment somewhere. Is it responsibility? Is it assignment? Is it identity? So that's a really, really good point. But thank you guys for being here. These are always short, sweet, to the point. I will see you next Tuesday at our regular time, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. And we will be talking about the problem ain't what you think it is. All right. So don't forget, like I always say, lead longer, live deeper, leave more. All right. Have a wonderful evening and we will talk soon.